And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Mufasa's Daily Book Reading at Noon. I trust that you had an absolutely amazing weekend, that you have kept safe, and you're feeling happy today as we're about to jump in today's 10-minute read of Stephen Covey's The Eighth Habit. We're going to be reading part 2. It's chapter 6 that we're going to be reading also, and we've moved into aspiring others to find their voice, the leadership challenge, which is, it looks like it's a little bit exciting today. What a wonderful way to start off our week. I hope that you have accessed the previous readings that we've done. You can find those on our YouTube channel. They've been cultivated into a beautiful playlist for you to access. So make sure that you get access to our link, which is in the description of today's live, to get all of that wonderful content. Remember to subscribe, like, and to share the content as well. My name is Mpho, and I am your reader for today. 10 minutes is about to be set. Hello to everyone who is watching this right now. And if you're watching it in the replay, remember to just leave a comment and hashtag replay. Leave a comment and just hashtag replay in the comment section. I hope that makes sense. And also, if you have any coaching inquiries or any product inquiries, we have a wonderful mentorship program for social media intelligence that we're currently running. So you will find that information in the description of today's live as well. So access that if you're looking to effectively and efficiently promote your business using social media. Definitely get into contact with us. We're ready for you. We have all these wonderful packages as well. So we're accommodating you in so many areas. We're giving you some leadership content. We're giving you some social media content. We're giving you content for days. So make sure that you like today's video, and also subscribe to our channel. 10 minutes is set. Let me start reading. Inspiring others to find their voice, the leadership challenge. In everyone's life, at some point, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle the inner spirit. And that is a quote by Arnold Schweitzer. When I was a young man, I had an experience with a leader that profoundly shaped the rest of my life. I had decided to take a break in my education to give some extended volunteer service. The invitation came to go to England. Just 4.5 months after my arrival, the president of the organization came to me and said, "I have a new assignment for you. I want you to travel around the country and train local leaders." I was shocked. Who was I to train 2 and 3 times my age? Sensing my doubts, he simply looked me in the eye and said, "I have great confidence in you. You can do this. I will give you my materials to help you prepare to teach these leaders and to facilitate their sharing best practices with one another." His confidence, his ability to see more in me than I saw in myself, his willingness to entrust me with responsibility that would stretch to me, my potential, and unlock everything inside of me. I accepted the assignment and gave my best. It tapped me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I grew. I saw others grow. I saw patterns in basic leadership principles. By the time I returned home, I had begun to detect the work I wanted to devote my life to, unleashing human potential. I found my voice, and it was my leader that inspired me to find it. I realized in time that I wasn't the only one he treated this way. His affirmation of others, his ability to unite us in vision toward our work that inspired and motivated us, his patterns of providing with enabling resources and inspiring us as true leaders with accountability and stewardship became the norm in our entire organization. We began to lead and serve in the same way, and the results were remarkable. I've realized since then that the principles that guided his leadership are common to great leaders in any organization, regardless of the level or formal position of the person. My teaching, consulting, and leadership experience in business, university, volunteer, and church organizations, and especially in my own family, have taught me that leadership influence is governed by principles. When you live by them, you influence and moral authority increases, and you are often given greater formal authority. The biblical parables of the pounds and the talents illustrate that the more you use and magnify the gifts or talents you have been given, the more gifts and talents you are given. But if they are ignored or buried and remain underdeveloped and unused, the very talents or gifts that have been given will be lost and often given to another. So you end up not only losing talents, but also losing influence and opportunities. Leadership defined. So here we have a wonderful definition of leadership. Simply put, and its most elemental and practical level, leadership is communicating to people their worth and potential so clearly that they become to see it in themselves. Think about this definition. Isn't this the essence of the kind of leadership that influences and truly endures? To communicate the worth and potential of others so clearly, so powerfully, and so consistently that they really come to see it in themselves. It is to set in motion the process of seeing, doing, and becoming. Let's read the definition again. Leadership is communicating to people their worth and potential so clearly that they come to see it in themselves. What a way to think about and to define the irreplaceable role of grandparenting. The most essential role of grandparents is to communicate in as many ways as possible the worth and potential of their children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren clearly that they really believe it and act on that belief. What a wonderful role, right? If this spirit suffused our culture and society, the impact on the civilization of the world would be unimaginably magnificent and endless. Let's explore in depth, perhaps next to relationships, the most common and continuous means of communicating to people their worth and potential, especially in the organization. Organization defined. As we now move to part two of the eighth habit, inspire others to find their voice, we enter into the domain of leadership. Again, this is not leadership as a formal position, but leadership as a choice to deal with people in a way that will communicate to them their worth and potential so clearly they will see and come to see it in themselves. Regarding our focus on this kind of leadership in the organization, I would like to emphasize four simple points. First point, at the most elemental level, an organization is nothing more or less than a relationship with a purpose, which is its voice. The purpose is aimed at meeting the needs of one or more persons or stakeholders. The simplest organization would be two people who share a purpose, such as in a simple business partnership or a marriage. Almost all people, this is point two, almost all people belong to organization of one kind or the other. And this is what we've been saying from the first book that we read, Energy Leadership, written by Bruce D. Schneider. We spoke about the organization, and we also read about how organization is in business and in any other interactions that you have with other people, especially where there's a purpose involved, like what Stephen is saying in this book. This is the third point, most of the world's work is done in and through organizations. Point 4, the highest challenge inside organizations including families, is to set them up and run them in a way that enables each person to inwardly sense his or her innate worth and potential for greatness, and to contribute his or her unique talents and passion, in other words, voice, to accomplish the organization's purpose and highest priorities in a principle-centered way. We could call this the leadership challenge. In short, an organization is made up of individuals who have a relationship and a shared purpose. You can see then how this organizational application applies to each one of us. And I think this is the last thing we're going to read today. It's about management and or leadership. Literally hundreds of books and thousands of articles have come out in the last few years on leadership, and they're still coming out. You might be writing one, you might write one, so you'll still be coming out with more content. This points out how vital the subject is. Leadership really is the enabling art. Ooh, it's an enabling art. The purpose of schools is educating kids, but if you have bad leadership, you have bad education. The purpose of medicine is helping people get well, but if you have bad leadership, you'll have bad medicine. We could give illustration after illustration to show that leadership is the highest of the arts, simply because it enables all the other arts and professions to work. This is particularly true for family. I love that he always comes back to family, because it's a choice, right, that we make to be leaders. It's a conscious choice how we can also use leadership in our day-to-day lives, and we are always interacting with our families, chosen or the ones we didn't choose for ourselves. I spent a lifetime studying, teaching, and writing on both leadership and management. In fact, as part of my preparation for writing this book, I initiated a literature review of leadership theories of the 20th century. I've included it in the back of the book, and it's in an appendix. As part of the literature review of leadership theories, we gathered statements from leading authors who describe the differences between leadership and management. Here's a small sample of that study, and so I'm going to read three of the differences, right? So leaders are people who do the right thing. Leadership is about coping with change. Leadership has about it a kinesthetic feel, a sense of movement, as opposed to management. Managers are people who do things right. Management is about coping and complexity. Management is about handling things, about maintaining order, about organization and control. So I hope those have done some clarifying, those are some clarifying statements between leadership and management. And I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I'm going to stop the reading there for today. And hello, Ayanda. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you're watching this in the replay, leave a comment. What did you enjoy in today's book? Where are you choosing to lead consciously? And if you have any inquiries about any of our programs and coaching sessions, make sure that you do see the description of today's link for all of that wonderful information. Thank you so much. You can recap this reading on our YouTube channel and other readings as well. I will see you on Wednesday. Goodbye.